coming to this talk, which is about history. When I was a kid growing up in Philadelphia, I didn't like history. I went to parochial schools, and the nuns and priests that taught me really emphasized dates, dates, dates. Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, memorize the dates, test on Monday. And I kept asking, who are these people? The Tudors and the Stuarts, memorize the dates, test on Monday. Who are these people? The Ming Dynasty, who are these people? And then I started to travel. And I ran into a lot of tour guides in a lot of different places who would give historical overviews, and some of them were pretty good. But I must admit I tuned out when they started rattling off dates. Then I was on a bus tour of Paris, and there was a tour guide in the front of the bus with a microphone, blah, 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 just like me up here now. And I thought, oh boy, here comes another boring lecture. And then she began an overview of the history of France. And she did it in terms of the great love affairs of the French rulers. Here's Napoleon crowning Josephine. And all of a sudden, I like history. Long after my school days were over, and I finally had an answer to who are these people. And I could never understand why the nuns and priests back in Philadelphia never got around to the great love affairs of the French rulers. If they had, I would know a lot more about history than I do now. So here are some nuts and bolts about me. I have a doctorate in education from the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. Good football teams. I worked as a full professor, but really never did a whole lot of teaching at a state university in Los Angeles called California State University Northridge. But I was mostly an administrator for 23 years while I was there. I have a website that is an easy one to remember, I hope, cruisespeaker.com, which tells you more about me, which is not as interesting as telling you more about what I'm going to talk about, because I will give 3 talks on the 3 sea days, and there will be 2 topics for each talk, so 6 different topics, and a summary of each of these is on that webpage. And also contained there are primary sources that I used and that you can refer to. And so I'm very much an amateur historian, that is one who came to be a history buff after my school days were long gone. And I've traveled all through this area, been to every one of the ports except the very last one. And I hope to give you some appreciation of the area in terms of who are some of the people along the way. So I'm going today to talk about Hans Christian Andersen and Peter the Great. And then in future lectures, we will get to Catherine the Great, Nicholas the Not So Great, and we'll throw in Rasputin, the mad monk. We'll deal with Alfred Nobel and the Nobel Prizes. And my last lecture on the last sea day, the 3rd sea day, not the last sea day, but the 3rd sea day that I will talk, is about a quite serious proposal between 1980 and 2000 approximately of establishing a Nobel sperm bank, if you can imagine.